Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Jeannie Lee of EDB Technologies. Just so you all know, I am recording this webinar and it will be available on our YouTube channel, and I'll send a link to the video once it's uploaded to everybody. Our topic today is how to make collection calls that get results. In most small businesses, the person who is responsible for making collection calls is not a full-time professional collector, but is someone with other significant responsibilities, a bookkeeper, a salesperson, or even the business owner. So if you're not sure how to make a collection call, or if you're making them but they don't seem to be all that effective, this webinar is going to show you 6 tips on how to make collection calls more effective so you're not wasting your time. So number 1 is preparation. In order for any call to be effective, you need to have relevant supporting information readily available, such as the invoices you're calling about, plus any supporting documentation, proof of delivery, purchase order, etc. Notes from prior contacts regarding this invoice, if any, so any past call notes or voicemails or emails. Customer account status, such as other open invoices and past payment history. Customer contact, obviously you're going to need to know who you're calling and their phone number. You'll want to set an objective regarding the call. Generally, you will want to be looking for some sort of specific information or commitment for a specific follow-up action to be performed by the customer or by yourself. Secret number 2 is making sure that your initial call covers all of your bases. So this is your first contact with a customer regarding a past due invoice. You will have already sent the invoice and possibly a past due reminder or mail by email this time. The objective of this call is to determine the status of the payment and identify any issues that may be delaying that payment. In your own words, introduce yourself and cover the following points. So you'll want to say something like, I'm calling, my name's Jeannie, I'm calling from XYZ company regarding your invoice 1234 for $999. That was due on March 15th. You'll want to ask them if they sent the payment for this yet. If they have, ask for the check number and the date it was mailed. And if they have not, confirm that they have the invoice and ask when it's scheduled for payment. If any issues or problems are mentioned, get as much information as possible so you can follow up as appropriate. Tracking and managing those disputes is a complex issue to be covered in an entirely different webinar, so stay tuned for that. You'll want to get the name and the title of the person you spoke with so you can speak with them again next time you call. You always want to try to speak with the same person so there's no mixed signals or miscommunications if you get bounced around from person to person. Secret number 3 is taking call notes. This seems simple, but records and notes of the key points of any call, including the time and date, as well as any promises made by the customer, can be extremely helpful. Then you'll want to mark your calendar to follow up on these promises. For example, if somebody says, oh yeah, I'll get that to you next Friday, you'll want to write that down, calendar for next Friday, so if it doesn't show up, you can call them and ask why. Since most accounting systems have limited capabilities for entering notes or activities, you might consider using collection management software such as Anytime Collect for this purpose, so that this information can be shared among all individuals within your company that need to know what's happening with a customer. Secret number 4 is leaving the perfect voicemail. You'll call a company and you'll get a voicemail for the person you need to speak with. When that happens, you're going to want to leave a brief message that's informative, but not too informative. So you want to say, I'm Jeannie, I'm calling from XYZ company regarding our invoice number 1234 for $999 that was due on March 15th. Could you please call me back and let me know when this is scheduled for payment? Now that last part is very important. You'll want to ask them to do a specific action for you rather than just saying call me back. You're going to have to say call me back and do, blank. You'll want to leave your name and your phone number and be sure to leave the name and number clearly and repeat it. If you have an email address for the person or department you're calling, send a note stating that you've just left them a message and restate the above information, as well as attach a copy of the invoice in question, so that way, if they happen to not check their messages, like some of us do, they'll get an email about it. Make a note of the call in the email. Secret number 5 is making your demand calls. They need to be firm yet soft. So you don't want to burn any bridges or make any enemies, because that's not going to help you get paid faster, but you also do want to get your point across. Sometimes that you have to get more forceful and ask for payment of the invoices if your voice messages and emails are ignored and your customers' promises are not kept. This is a three-step process. Ask why you've not been paid. Show understanding and sympathize with the customer. This may catch them off guard and is particularly effective when the customer is experiencing financial distress in their business. And remind them that they have an obligation to pay you. Reiterate that the invoice was for $999 and was due on March 15th, and remind them of any prior promises to pay that they made. Unless they push back with an objection or complaint, here is when you get implied agreement that they do owe you the money. Propose a specific payment action on their part that is realistic given what you've just learned in the conversation, such as, can you send me a check for $999 on May 1st? Or can you pay $500 today and pay the balance in 30 days? Now this is important. You do not want to ask them how much they can pay and when. That gives up control of the conversation and it opens it up for unrealistic or unreasonable suggestions. If you have the ability to accept credit card or electronic check payments over the phone, you should present that option. Also, some collectors are authorized to offer small discounts, usually 10 to 20%, but sometimes more, if the customer can make immediate electronic payment in full. Establish in advance company policy and guidelines regarding discounts and settlements, so you can discuss those if it comes up. As always, take careful notes and document the conversation and all commitments made by both parties. And finally, this is not much of a secret, but secret number 6 is to just ask for the money. Just ask for it. In collections, if you don't ask for the money, you don't get the money. Professional and timely follow-up on your invoicing is an essential part of the process of getting paid for the work you do. You're not being the bad guy here as long as you handle your calls in the right way. Remember, you're a business, not a bank. So here's a little bit more information about our company. We developed our own products such as Anytime Collect, accounts receivable management software, which I mentioned before, Anytime Commerce, which is a B2B e-commerce storefront, Anytime Supply Chain management, sales forecasting, and MRP DRP planning software, Anytime Assets, which is a cloud-based asset management database, and a handful of other products. We also resell and do development work for Sugar CRM, Epicor ERP, Intact Cloud Accounting Software, and Sage Software. You can visit our website down at the bottom there, www.e2btech.com, to get more information on all of these products and services. Again, my name is Jeannie Lee, and my contact information is up on the screen. Please feel free to contact me with any questions you may have. You can also visit the website to get more information on our Anytime Collect product. There's also some really great additional resources there for AR best practices in our white paper library that you can download for free. Okay, so with all of that said, thank you again for joining me today, and I hope to hear from you soon.